This is going to be a terrific game. Oh, nice shots.
Oh, that's gone. That's gone.
It's a beautiful shot.
Nicely played.
The atmosphere here is electric.
It's good morning then. Glad to see that the sun's kind of peeped through, partly cloudy. For Sri Lanka, what a start to the tour. This start will buoy them, no doubt. And South Africa must try and stay alive in the game. They've got to hang on. Right, let's get day 2 started.
There's a shot from Steyn, gone up. Fingers gone up.
Where do we run? Where do we hide?
Now this one, they're up again. That time it goes up. Now, I wonder if they're going to send this upstairs. Was that going down the leg side?
Gone. Vernon Philander, and he's got his man.
Sri Lanka go to lunch here on the second day in trouble.
Shot. That's better. It's a good shot, that. Got him. Oh, wow, what a piece of fielding. Superb.
The umpires have no control over what's taking place here with this young man. This man that's on strike is incapable of facing these short pitch balls at this speed. Pitch a few more up, please.
Tries to catch it now. She'll be out. Is out. There it is. Finally been wrapped up.
Sri Lanka all out and South Africa leading by 44 runs. Gone!
Big shout and give him.
We have seen lots of action today. As far as South Africa is concerned, they've got a lead of 170 now at the end of day 2.
Welcome to day number 3. It is South Africa against Sri Lanka, the first Castle Test match, and it comes to you live from Kingsmead in Durban. Hello, welcome. Trust that we find you well. A test match that has gone rather quickly. Days 1 and 2 have been full of action. 24 wickets have fallen, and we're very much kind of in the last phase of the test match, when only on day number 3. Before we get into today, let's show you exactly where things stand by looking at the match summary. And the summary itself, well, will tell you a whole lot, because now South Africa trying to get themselves a lead. They already lead by 170 runs. Sri Lanka won the toss and decided to field first and did a great job to bowl South Africa out for 235. South Africa's bowlers then do a great job and trump them by bowling Sri Lanka out for 191. And now South Africa have lost 4 second innings wickets and lead by 170. So looking forward to what may well happen in session number 1 today, as this one, well, goes into the final phase, as I say. It's good morning to Mikey Holding, as well as to Robin Peterson. Gents, how are you? How are you, Mikey?
I am in good order.
In good order?
Very good order.
Good spirits, too?
You used a word there that I don't particularly like, but we'll skip over that one.
Go on, then.
No, I won't mention it.
Because you don't like it?
Yeah.
You'll have to tell me later. Robin,
Yes.
How are you?
Well rested, Pom.
Well rested?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about the game, where you see it, how you see it, and what your expectation is going into today.
Well, where the game stands is South Africa 170 ahead. I think they've got to see what total they think will make them feel a little bit comfortable against Sri Lanka.
So what is that total for you?
Well, I think they want to make sure that they start well and get a partnership together. I think 100 runs if they know Sri Lanka has to chase 270, I think they'll be comfortable. It's not enough, though. So they'd want to get to that mark first, and then once they get to 300 plus, I think they start easing the nerves in the dressing room and feeling a lot more relaxed.
For Sri Lanka, is that 300 too many, do you think, Mikey, or is there a number that they would have in their mind as a preference? I know as little as possible is what you want, you know, but there must be a number where they're thinking, well, if they get over this, we're not happy.
Yeah, I think the 300 mark is going to be very, very tough to get for Sri Lanka. I think anything under 300, they should be thinking positively about it. You know, when they look at how the lower order batted and how they look at how the pitch is playing now, they should have every confidence that their top order batsmen should be able to go out there and get a good start, get some runs on the board, build confidence in the dressing room, and then they can achieve anything like 280, 290. But as we know, the difference between 290 and 300 is only 10 runs per me. But we know the psychological advantage that brings when you tell a team, oh, you have to get over 300 in the last innings. But Sri Lanka's batting should be able to put up a good fight on the pitch now. It's not doing anywhere near as much as day one, as we saw on day two. I haven't seen what the pitch looks like this morning, but looking at it yesterday, I don't think it's going to deteriorate that much.
Okay. If you're Sri Lanka and you kind of look at how things have gone with regard to your batting and how you got out, is it a big opportunity missed, Robin Peterson?
I think they were a little bit unlucky. We saw some umpiring decisions that probably weren't up to standard. The first one, they got the ball rolling yesterday morning, and then a little bit unlucky with umpires' call. You know, those things have been going against Sri Lanka of late, so they need all the luck they can get to sort of get the batting unit functioning again. But I think they'd be pretty confident. I think the way they saw their tail batted, as Mikey mentioned, Kusal Pereira showed a bit of skill that when he put South Africa under pressure, you know, they didn't respond that well. And, yeah, I think they'd be pretty confident to chase anything under 300. But they still got to do it. They haven't done it in a long time. That's the psychological element that'll be troubling Sri Lanka.
A lot of the time, Mikey, you watch players play, you watch teams play, and you can pick out what the method is and the general tactic is with the whole batting unit. Can you pick out one for how Sri Lanka have gone in the first innings and what they might do looking into the second?
No, you couldn't look at the Sri Lankan batting in the first innings and say, okay, this is the plan, that they're going to try and wear down this particular bowler, they may try and attack this other bowler. Nothing like that. It seemed like they just went out there and they just batted. Whatever happens, happens. And each individual has to have a plan in his mind when he goes out to bat. How am I going to score? Which bowlers do I think I can score more easily off? Who can I possibly take a chance against? That sort of thing didn't seem to be going through anybody's mind. It was just a matter of going out there and batting. And if you're going to be batting against a four-prong pace attack plus a spinner and the quality that the South Africans have, you have got to have a plan. You can't just go out and just play each ball as it comes. It sounds good, that saying, play each ball on its merit, but you still have to have a plan for each bowler and each ball.
Yeah, most successful of the men there in that lineup is Kusal Pereira with 51, and he seemed to be going. Robin, I know that you, to a degree, were disappointed with the end of his innings because he'd played pretty well prior to that.
He did. He put the South Africans under pressure that you could see that they didn't know which length. They tried to bowl short, then they went full, then they spread the field. So they weren't sure when you put them under a little bit of pressure. I was just disappointed when he got out because you felt that he didn't give himself a chance to bat with the tail. He didn't know what they were capable of, or he didn't back them. So he thought, okay, these guys are not going to last more than a couple of deliveries. Let me just try and see how many boundaries I can hit. So it wasn't really that smart for me. So I'd like to see him get a little bit smarter if he gets an opportunity again to bat with the tail. But he certainly did put the South Africans under a little bit of pressure when he had his opportunity.
So is bowlers rescuing batsmen? Is it?
Showing them up.
I'm
not too sure about rescuing.
Not so sure about rescuing them?
No, but they showed them up. You know, the lower order guys batting at 10 and 11, 9, 10 and 11, showed the top order exactly what is possible on that pitch. These guys down that the lower order, they don't have the skill, but they showed a great deal of fortitude. They showed character. You know, when you're getting hit all over your body and balls flying, it is easy to say this ain't my job. They didn't.
No, they didn't, and they must be commended for that. Right, a special guest. Guys are in the side to bowl, but they have to bat as well. Bowling side of things, they did a decent job bowling South Africa out. Here's Mike Hazeman with a special guest.
Thanks, Pom. Special guest with me this morning, Ramesh Ratnayaka, who played for Sri Lanka from 1983 through to 92. Opening bowler for them. He's now the bowling coach for Sri Lanka, putting a lot of work into the guys. Welcome, for starters. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you.
I want to have a look at this. Now, this is Lucknow to right-handers in this test match. We've got red balls and also blue balls, first and second innings. And I would imagine you're pretty happy with this. I mean, let's just pause there for starters. So that's the first innings lines. What are your comments about that, apart with Lucknow, the first innings?
Well, I love the cluster which he has had over here. And, well, you couldn't have asked for a better line and a length. The 6-meter area is what I sort of wanted from him, and he's done it really greatly. Unfortunately for him, he hasn't had more wickets, but I think that spell of his was brilliant.
So right-handers, but let's continue as well, because obviously he set a great tone in the first innings. Second innings, also terrific.
Yeah, also. But the first 2 overs, we spoke about the first 2 overs, but after that he came back very strongly. And here we see the clusters are really, really fine for the right-handers, and couldn't have expected better.
And again, we've got this good length is just 44%. I mean, that's got to please a coach. And occasionally the shorter deliveries as well, just to test them, to see what they're up to on that sort of surface.
I think it's very important that you test them with a shorter one, and he did it in a very nice way, because I think the short ones came in well, and then he put it up in the very good length area.
Okay, so that was your plans, and you got that spot on Lucknow. What he did get also was this wicket of Amla, which is a very important wicket. I mean, he's a key player. He had a life, we all know that, but that was just ideal, the line to Amla.
Unbelievable, yeah. So he kept on pegging there, and we know that Amla, the third and the fourth stump, well, off stump, he's a bit vulnerable. That's what we have spoken of, and he kept on pegging him there at a good length.
Okay, right, let's get on to Fernando. Picked up 4 wickets in the first inning. Again, we've got red streams here the first innings, blue streams with the second, and we were impressed with the way that he swung the ball.
Well, he's noted for his swinging,
yep,
and he's done extremely well, and the day was very conducive for him also. But saying that, the second day also he was doing that very, very well. So he's a brilliant swinger of the ball.
We're into the second innings now, and you'll notice here that this line was interesting, that he was bowling to Dean Elgar. Bit wide, maybe.
Well, slightly away from him. I mean, we were thinking of Dean Elgar as bowling third off stump or the fourth off stump. Yeah, so we would have expected him to make him play a little bit so that it would be closer to him. But nevertheless, he got great shape, but that shape was slightly wasted at the start, but he's aware of it.
Okay, right, so that's good stuff from Fernando and his career best forfer. But you would have been delighted with this. What about this wicket? Markram.
It was brilliant. Well, if you notice, the ball before that was a way swing, and Markram played for that, and that was a brilliant ball, lovely length, good length, and coming in, you can't expect better than that.
How much time do you spend with the setups? I mean, we all know the setups are very important to get wickets in the end. There was a setup also from Fernando to get Elgar with a ball that swung away from a perfect line in the first innings, then nicked the second one. How important are those setups?
I think setups are very, very important. We also have a look at previous tours of how they were set up by other bowlers. Take, for an instance, the Pakistan tour against them. So we sort of look at those areas and see, okay, how were they set up by their bowlers, very specific to us. So we are aware of those things, and we went through those, and we are trying to do our best to get it in that right direction as much as possible.
I think you're doing a terrific job, by the way. Now, this is a look at your seamers, and in particular, it's a look at the speeds of your seamers. I'll just get that out the way so we can have a look at these speeds. We're going from 110 to 125, 125 to 35 the green, etc. We can concentrate on 145 plus and also the yellow. So that's all the seamers. I want to play this because I know that you always, as a former opening bowler of Sri Lanka, you always want someone who's got a bit of gas behind them. And what about this? I mean, this is just terrific stuff with Rajita. 42 of the deliveries that are that pace and above.
Yeah, well, that's one thing which we sort of recognized in Rajita at the start. I mean, he has a great action to bowl very fast. But in the recent past, he has gone through a little bit of a scene as of losing his rhythm and timing a little bit. And we worked on it. And if you see the speeds in Australia and compare that to now, he has virtually done it overnight.
That's great.
And it's all about rhythm and timing. He's aware of that. And, well, he's got an issue as of wrist, which we will talk very soon on that.
Let's get into that. Right, here's the wrist position. Your initial thoughts about this, Ramesh?
Yeah, well, it's not the best position that we want him to have.
We're going to rock and roll a bit so you can have a closer look.
Well, if I break the wrist into 3 positions, I would call that particular wrist as of an outward locked position, which is not the ideal position for the outswinger. The outswinger should be inward locked and cocked, and that will be the ideal position. So he's not in a neutral position, he's in the extreme of that. So,
right.
Which means his wrist, the breaking of the wrist happens very frequently,
right.
Which he's aware of. We are working on a lot of drills which is pertaining to the wrist, and but it's a matter of having it right. But I'm happy with the timing, but it's a matter of getting that wrist right, which is very important for me.
Good stuff. Terrific. Ramesh, good luck today. Thanks for your input on the touchscreen.
Well,
good on you.
My pleasure.
Nice to
Thank
chat
you very
to you.
much.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Pom, back to you upstairs.
Yeah, thanks, Hayes. And I'll throw it straight over to you, Mikey, because they've got to jump into this game once again. Bowl day 1, bowl day 2, bowl day 3, and they've got to try, not so much from a batting aspect, which we spoke about before, but from bowling 6 wickets to get to try and keep their side in the game and ensure that they can have a chance of winning. How tough is it for Sri Lanka and for the Sri Lankan bowlers to keep their side in this one?
Well, fortunately, Pommy, they did such a good job in the first innings that they weren't in the field for very long. They fielded for less than 60 overs. If they had fielded for 100 overs, it would have been difficult now for them to come back again the 3rd day and really try and get these 6 wickets. They should still be reasonably fresh. And they have done a good job so far. They should be confident that they can get these other 6 wickets, especially looking at the batting lineup. Knowing they need to break this partnership. And then, of course, we know that they're into the bowlers.
Okay, yeah, Robin, I'd like to know how precarious the position is for South Africa. That's when we come back from the break. We'll take a short break. Don't go too far away. Get your coffee, get ready. About to start day number 3. See you in a little bit. Welcome back to Kingsmead. It's a lovely day, and if you love your surfing, swimming in the sea, and fishing and so forth, well, it's one of those days. If you love your cricket, turn up at Kingsmead. No rain predicted today. There's a 10% chance. Well, we'll see how it goes through the day. It's a bit hot and sweaty as well, as is normally the case here in Durban. Right, Robin Peterson, Mayaki Holdings saying Sri Lanka can take heart from what they did in South Africa's first innings. Just how precarious is the position? Every side trying to be as positive and feel positive going into the day. What do you think for South Africa's perspective?
I think South Africa are not that comfortable yet. I think they need a partnership, especially between Quinton de Kock and Faf du Plessis, just to settle the game. I think the first hour is crucial. I think we've seen in every session start of a new day's play, wickets have fallen. So they'd be aware of that, and they know they need to settle that period. So important, because Sri Lanka, there's a window for them. If they get out Quinton de Kock, who scores quickly, all of a sudden you get Vernon, Keshav coming in. I think it could be a tight test match.
A tight test match, Robin Peterson says, dependent on what happens early. Generally, on the surface, you expect there'll be the most at the start of the day when it's spent the night under the covers. Sean Pollock, what have you got for us with regard to the conditions today on the surface?
Yeah, thanks, Pom. You mentioned the surfing. Not a good day for surfing. Onshore breeze, it's flattening things out, causing a few barrels and maybe guys are going to get dumped. So don't go to the sea, come and watch the cricket. But let me just give you an insight into what's happened with the pitch. What have we seen in day 1 and day 2? There's been a slight change. Hawkeye is the best example to try and show you. On day 1, it was slightly slower, which means the ball was just gripping in and standing up a little bit on the batsman. So you can see on day 1, the red ball, it gets to you slower but stands a little bit steeper. On day 2, it's quickened up just a touch and started to come through more even. So a better surface on day 2, a little bit more pace in it. The wind has changed today. That's why I was giving you the surfing report as well. For the first 2 days, we've had the southwesterly that comes from Castle Corner and comes over towards the dressing rooms. That tends to get the ball to shape around a little bit, offer a little bit of assistance, get the ball to swing through the air, and we've seen some guys swing the ball. The northeasterly, it's often more blustery, and that's what it is today. It's a strong breeze. It tends to dry things out and make life actually more difficult for the bowlers and more comprehensible for the batsmen. So I think the guys at the crease at the moment will think this is my day where I can make hay, because it's the best surface we've seen. The only thing that we're going to see, and I'm a little bit worried about this northeasterly because, as I say, it dries things out. It might play a little bit of a part in the surface. We saw a couple of examples yesterday, but before we go to those examples, let me just have a look. It almost dries it out and makes a little bit of a flaky conditions. Here's a little bit of a flake that comes off. Here's another one that I've found on the side. It's just a small little piece. It's the top crust that dries out, and then when the ball lands in that area, it disturbs it a bit. Vernon was the best example. And when you watch these 3 balls that I'm going to show you, really watch closely where it pitches. You'll see a slight disturbance of the surface. There, just a little puff of dust. There's a couple more examples from Vern. So this might start to play a little bit more of a part. There, disturbing the surface again. When it disturbs, it'll just grip and create some extra movement. So that's something that the players will have to be aware of as this wind dries it out. But in general, nothing really wrong with the surface. No gremlins involved here. I still think it's a decent day for batting, and the bowlers are going to have to work hard today. But there will be a little bit of assistance and maybe a little bit more turn as things get dried out and the day goes on.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. I think if you're sitting in either side, you want to know that conditions are pretty good. You want to know that there are no gremlins, to use Sean's words in the surface, and the contest essentially is about skills rather than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, South Africa have a good pair of batsmen at the crease right now. As Robbie said, it's important for these two to get a good start, get a good partnership going, because although we know that the bowlers, Vern, for instance, and Maharaj can contribute, you don't want to be putting too much pressure on them and say, gentlemen, we need 100 from the rest of you guys. So it's so important that this partnership keeps going.
Okay, let's try and get a sense of how the camp feels. And I say how they feel. Try not to give us too much when we speak to them. But perhaps you look into their eyes, you can see whether they're nervous or not, or how things are going in there. Here's Malibonga Maketa, and he's talking to Mike Haseman.
Molly, thanks for your time. What is the general consensus from the boys about the pitch?
Yeah, obviously it was tough to lose a toss and bat first. It did a little bit. We had some tough wickets this summer, so it's one of those things that we're prepared to deal with. Whatever conditions, we back our batters to go out and get enough runs for a strong bowling attack to do damage.
Just give us some insight as to what happens in the back room before a test match. How much studying against these new bowlers do your batsmen do?
We had we're trying to actually go as depth as possible because most of the guys are quite new. We needed to go out and find as much information as we can. Likely some of them played in New Zealand and Australia, so we had enough info, but probably not quite enough. We back ourselves on really being adaptable and learning as we go along, and in the past few days we've actually learnt a lot about their bowling attack. We'll probably be a little bit pointed with the wickets that we've lost this innings, but we're continuously learning since their new attack.
So why do you think the guys underperformed in this test match, the top order in particular?
Yeah, it's a mixture of both, I guess. I mean, if you look at the freaky wickets that we lost in the first innings was a bit disappointing. We felt yesterday was probably one of the best days for us to bat, and we didn't take advantage of that, which happens, but we back ourselves to still get a good score here and put pressure on them.
Okay, so you've got a great lead of 170. What are the plans today?
Well, the plans is just so much time left in the game. We want to make sure that we bat for as long as possible and make sure that we get them to get in the mentality to come in and play for a draw from the word go. You know, we still believe we've got enough in the shed for us to get a good score here.
Good stuff. Enjoy the day.
Cheers. Thanks, AZ.
Seems rather confident and quite happy with how things are going. Robin Peterson, the what is what we've discussed in terms of, which way and how things should go with regard to the teams and results and so forth. But just how you do it is important for coaches and for players to have clear plans and strategies. Speak about South Africa, speak about Sri Lanka as well as they go into this first session.
I think for Sri Lanka, from their perspective, they'd want to just get the ball in the good areas as they did in day one and see if they can knock over South Africa's, especially Quinton de Kock, I feel. I think he's the one they'd probably target more than Faf du Plessis at this stage. But from a South African perspective, I think what they want to see is just the game being settled. Take it, grind Sri Lanka out. As Polly said, the wind's coming in the northwest. It might dry the surface out. Batting could become harder, so they can't just collapse in a heap this morning. They've got to make sure that they bat for as long as they can. Conditions get a little bit tougher for batting. So I think that'll be the South African game plan.
And Sri Lanka, I suppose, as you say, go at Quinton de Kock. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Thank you, Mikey, for your thoughts as well. As we look into this day, actually, you look at it, and as I said to Robin, as I said to Mikey, you don't know. We can't say that South Africa are well ahead and they are comfortable. They are not. 170 ahead at the moment, but a wicket, 2 wickets, and all of a sudden this test match could be, as you said, Robin, an interesting test match. You want to see this first session, and if you want some action? Well, we've had action in the first session every single day. Day 1, day 2. On now to day 3.
Sunshine greets us this morning for the start of day 3 of the first Castle Lager Test match. South Africa and Sri Lanka, the sights of Durban.